expanding the force by 25%, even as the number of people caught illegally crossing the U.S.-Mexico border has hit a 4-decade low. But Customs and Border Protection, which includes the Border Patrol, is already by far the largest law enforcement agency in America, with more armed agents than the FBI, DEA, Secret Service, and U.S. Marshals combined. And finding thousands more local people who can do the difficult job and pass a background check won't be easy.
How often do you go out on patrol? At least once a week I go out 10 hours. And it's in the very area that I'm taking.
When we asked Art Benqueto, Vice President of the Border Patrol Union, to tell us why the patrol needs 5,000 new agents, he offered to show us instead. Benqueto says that hiring more agents is the only thing that will secure sections of the border like this one, which can only be reached on foot.
This is the border. This is what's protecting the United States. So I'm protecting the border people coming on in.
It isn't quite that easy. The desert sun here is brutal, and migrants, once they cross the line, can get lost and wander for days. Many die trying to get to safety, and there are agents hunting them, even if they're rare. The area we visited was littered with the smuggling networks used to avoid detection, including water jugs made of black plastic so as not to catch the sunlight, and shoes with carpet soles made to leave no footprints. Benqueto is in favor of a border wall, and he says agents need better communications technology. But, he says, none of these things will make a difference without more people.
And how often do you have agents in this area at all? Not very often because we don't have the manpower to send them out here.
When Donald Trump came on the scene, Benqueto saw an opportunity. Last year, he pushed the National Border Patrol Council to endorse Trump, the first time the union ever backed a candidate before the general election. That's Benqueto shaking Trump's hand during a meeting in New York. Trump, he says, was the only candidate who asked the union what the patrol needed. Trump's executive order calling for more agents is a sign he was listening. The Border Patrol used to be a small force, spread out over the southwestern border. It grew during the 90s, then exploded in the years after 9/11, more than doubling in the span of a few years. With growth came problems. Between 2006 and 2011, complaints against border agents nearly doubled, according to CBP's own numbers, including allegations of excessive force and corruption. Some agents were discovered to be on the payroll of Mexican cartels, which used them to smuggle drugs and contraband into the U.S. In response, Congress passed a law in 2010 that instituted regular background checks and a polygraph test for all new applicants, which more than 2/3 of candidates failed. That law was based in part on the work of Jim Wong, the former second-in-command at CBP's Internal Affairs Unit, who helped introduce the polygraph exam that Congress later mandated. Wong investigated misconduct in the Border Patrol for 10 years before retiring in 2011 to Louisiana. He says the agency hired too many people too quickly in the mid-2000s.
What that allows is a person who shouldn't be on the job to come in through the door. You're going to give them a badge and a gun and the authority to detain people, make life and death decisions, and they're going to be on the job for a long time.
Can you give me an example of the kinds of corruption problems that originated as a result of the hiring surge?
We had an applicant that was hired pre-polygraph, and we found out after he'd been hired that he was actually a convicted drug dealer in Mexico because he did not have a U.S. record, and they did a cursory background check. That fact never came up.
CBP told us it's confident it can hire 5,000 new employees without lowering standards. Benqueto and the union agree, though they also say the way the polygraph is administered is too exacting and excludes viable candidates. They also say the problems of the past were overstated, since agents arrested for corruption never amounted to more than 1% of the workforce.
Will there be, bad apples that come through? There's always the possibility. that doesn't prevent you from doing it.
So that's essentially a cost of growing the patrol in the way that it needs to be grown.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cost of growing. It's a price that we're going to end up having to pay. You can't put a price on a human life. You cannot put a price on security. You do what needs to be done. You ask what needs to be put out here, and you do everything necessary to make sure this border is secure.